but although I don't, it certainly doesn't.
Letting number 8674, improvements at Fox Park Comfort Station roof repair, 2018-82-117. We have two bids. Brady Construction, Inc., BRADY Construction, Inc. Total base bid, $278,308.38. 278,308.38. Jackson Building Group, Inc. JACKSON Building Group, Inc. $240,158.26. 240,158.26. With the low bidder, please meet with Ms. Bryant in the hallway. Thank you.
Hearing number 8222 is being conducted pursuant to Section 26.100.030 of the Revised Code of the City of St. Louis. The purpose of this hearing is to determine whether the conditional use permit issued to Syrian Restaurant, CO, Ahmet Callender, to occupy 4658 Gravois as a sit-down and carry-out restaurant with full drink bar, subject to certain conditions, should be revoked. The conditional use permit is numbered as 125188. The hearing held on September 25, 2018, before this board was tabled and continued to October 30th, 2018, to allow time for compliance. The conditions in questions are as follows. Condition number 2. The windows must be kept clear of clutter, with only permitted areas of the windows covered by signs in accordance with city ordinances and in accordance with these conditions. Application shall be made for all signs and approved by the office of the zoning administrator before installation. Condition number 8. The premise shall be maintained in a neat and orderly appearance with no litter and kept in good condition at all times. The office of the zoning administrator has the burden to prove the conditional use permit conditions have not been complied with. After all evidence of the zoning administrator has been presented, the board will ask for additional testimony, if any, in support of the revocation. Then, the conditional use holder will be given the opportunity to present their evidence. Lastly, the board will hear other testimony in opposition to the revocation, if any. Your testimony is being recorded. When you come forward, please state your name and address and be sworn in. As you testify, please direct your comments to the board and not to those in the audience. Members of the audience are asked to remain silent and not coach the witnesses. During your testimony, members of this board may have questions for you. Following the hearing, the board will proceed with its regular agenda. Following the conclusion of the regular agenda, the board will deliberate, discuss, and vote on the hearing. The board will notify the conditional use holder of its decision by mail in about 2 weeks. The Board of Public Service has in its possession the following documents which are being introduced into evidence. Item 1, a certified copy of the zoning code of the City of St. Louis. Item 2, the conditional use permit numbered as 125188 issued to Syrian Restaurant, CO, Ahmet Callender, to occupy 4658 Gravois as a sit-down and carry-out restaurant with full drink bar subject to certain conditions. Item 3, a memorandum dated August 1st, 2018 from the zoning inspector to the zoning administrator stating that upon that date, the zoning inspector found violations of conditions numbered 2 and 8 of the conditional use permit. This memo includes photographs of the noted violations. Item 4, the public notices for today's hearing. And item 5, a certified letter dated October 9th, 2018, sent to Syrian Restaurant CO Ahmed Callender from the board secretary providing notice of the hearing, which was tabled until today's date. At this time, the board asks a representative from the Office of Zoning Administrator to please come forward and be sworn in.
I do. My name is Myra Turner. I'm zoning inspector for the city of St. Louis, 1200 Market Street. Good afternoon, board. As of today, on inspection, Syrian Restaurant has brought all things into compliance. On the picture, you might see by the trash can where somebody put a box there, but they did that this morning, so I did ask them not to put that box there. But again, so they are in compliance, and my recommendation is for them to check the property on a regular basis so that it can stay in compliance as far as the litter. But I saw the person that put that box there by that trash can because it was not there, and I asked them not to put it there, but they did.
Okay. So, in quick summary here, all conditions have been brought into compliance. You've asked the conditional use permit holder to continue to monitor litter and debris and other items to stay in compliance. And so at this point, you have no issue with them.
No.
Any questions from the board? Thank you very much.
I want to say that it was good to see somebody come into compliance.
Thank you. Noted. The board asked a representative from the Office of the Department of Health to come forward and testify.
Sure. I'm Ashley Meyer. I'm a food establishment inspector with the health department located at 1520 Market.
Proceed.
So an inspector went out there yesterday, found 3 critical violations, 3 non-critical violations regarding the interior of the facility, but didn't make note of anything regarding the exterior in terms of litter or trash.
Any questions from the board?
Did I hear you? You said 3 critical violations?
Yes, sir.
Can you expand on those?
Sure. Let's see. The first one is food not separated and protected. There was raw chicken stored on the shelf with raw vegetables in the reach-in cooler. Another one was inadequate hand-washing sinks, not supplied and accessible. There was beef being thawed in their hand-wash sink. And inadequate hand-washing sinks, again, supplied and accessible. There was no paper towels at the hand-wash sink, and all those are considered critical violations.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any further questions from the board? Thank you very much. If there's anyone else present who wishes to testify that no conditions have not been complied with, please come forward and be sworn in.
Yes. Anthony Elliott, 1520 North Market, Environmental Health Officer.
Okay.
I was actually out there to do an inspection on or about the 25th of September. Everything was fine. I was requested to do another inspection today, and these were the following. The men's restroom toilet was inoperable. There was a sign posted that said, does not work. The 3-vat sink had leaks in it. They had a leak up under it, and the water pressure was low. Water was leaking, appeared to be leaking from up under the refrigerator along with raw food. The temperature in one of the refrigerators was 61 degrees in the kitchen, and a strong odor coming from the same refrigerator discovered spoiled food. There was another refrigerator in the kitchen that also was inoperable. Through further research, I believe an outlet or something happened with the outlet where the food had spoiled overnight, and I basically gave them verbal advice to tell them to discard the food. The exterior, there was some litter amongst the rear exterior wall. Also, I discovered that there were a tray of bread that was left at the door, and some of it was on the ground. I talked to the owner, and he explained to me that somebody had delivered it after or before they opened. And I told him he need to discard that as well and get someone to deliver the food during food hours where they can bring it directly within the facility. I also gave verbal advice about the commercial dumpster. There's 2 dumpsters out there. One belongs to an apartment building next door, and the other one to the business owner. What the business owner told me and what I've known in the past is that the residence uses his dumpster when theirs is full. And I recommend that he get either a bigger dumpster and a dumpster with locks on them. And for whatever reason, the company is not cooperating. So I also had recommended that he either go with another company that can accommodate. That's basically all I found.
And you've had multiple conversations with the conditional use permit holder, correct?
Well, I had one. You mean the owner?
Yes.
I had one conversation with him. That's when I was out there on September the 25th, which I told him the exact same thing about the commercial dumpster. And I also have pictures as well.
In your opinion, is the conditional use permit holder, have they been cooperative with trying to resolve these issues that you've noted?
Well, this is the initial time I found all of this. When I was out here on the 25th.
So you have not done a reinspection yet?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
This was initial. Yeah, I didn't find that on the 25th, but today I did.
Understood. Other questions from the board?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
If there's anyone else present who wishes to testify the noted conditions have not been complied with, please come forward and be sworn in. Seeing none, the board asks the conditional use permit holder to please come forward and be sworn in.
Yes. I'm Abdul Haq Majid. I call you from Majid, the Mediterranean restaurant. Senior
You have to
restaurant.
slow down just a little bit.
Okay, so I have a problem. Yesterday I close restaurant. The cooler working 100%. Just I come in today. The lock stopped. I don't know why. Just I fix it. I come in here. Yeah,
So you were asked to come in here today because it's the public hearing to go over the issues that were found. And as the zoning inspector noted, those issues have been corrected. So thank you for doing that. But also today we've had the health department come up and give a presentation as well. And as you heard the previous gentleman speak, he noted some issues that you still have. So some issues with the toilet being inoperable, some issues with a sink and leaking and water pressure, and a couple of other items on here with a refrigerator, food prep table, and so forth. And so are you aware that these are still issues?
yes, you can.
Are you aware of this? Got to come up to the mic. And who are you?
Kawa Muhammad Said Shakar. I'm one of the Abdul Haq Majid who owns Syrian restaurant. I'm his friend since we come like almost together to United States.
Okay.
And I couldn't just try to help him to translate it.
Right.
Figure you-
And so are you guys aware that we still have issues from the Department of Health?
Yeah, as I talked to Abdul Haq before the course started. What happens? One of the issue was the main restaurant. The water did not work, but we got appointment with a guy. He's supposed to come fix it on Wednesdays.
Okay.
We are not sure, but we know that the main restaurant doesn't work as the sir he mentioned. That was true. And the second one, about the refrigerator, it was true. It didn't work. The problem was the electric breaker. It didn't work, and then you can see the refrigerator didn't work at all. But the day before that, we did have the another health inspection. They checked everything was okay. And we can say we're sorry and apologize for that. It didn't work. He's right. Whatever he said was true. I mean, he have all evidence, you know.
Right.
And we cannot tell you we fixed the electric breaker, even we change it. And we're ready if you guys want to inspect it again. We're ready for that. And wherever you want to judge it and say it's even the trash can. He called twice, and then they said they were gonna bring bigger container,
Right.
and they have a lock, but they didn't get it yet. but wherever he's calling them back, they told him that we're gonna get 40 next week, but no one's come. And most of the neighborhoods, they got like 26 apartments in there in the area, and they got only one trash can, as he mentioned too, was true. And they're using our trash can, we cannot do nothing.
So you heard from the gentleman from the Department of Health, and it sounds to me like you are making strides to correct these problems.
Sure.
And are you fully understanding of what these problems are, and are you going to say that you will fully correct all these issues by working with the gentleman who testified you had problems?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else you guys want to add? Okay. Other questions from the board? Thank you, guys.
Thank you for the question.
At this time, the board asks if there's anyone present opposing the revocation who wishes to testify. Please come forward and be sworn in. Seeing none. I have two items that I'd like to introduce in evidence. Item A, which is the report from the zoning inspector, and item B, which is the report from the Department of Health inspector. The matter concerning hearing number 8222 is now closed and submitted, and the board will proceed with its regular agenda. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie.
Here.
Director Wilson.
Here.
Director Hayes.
Here.
Director Augustin. Here. Director Argy. Here. Director Edwards. And President Bradley.
Here, we have a quorum. I'll call the meeting in order.
From the President, Supplemental Agreement Number 4 to PSA Number 1181, Civil, Structural, Surveying, and Geotechnical Design Services, Lambert St. Louis International Airport. Amendment Number 1 to Facilities Management Division Elevator Service Contract Number 72279 with Tharzen Krupp Elevator Corporation, extending the contract through October 31st, 2019. From the President and Director of Public Utilities and Streets, Studio Lush LLC, to encroach with an entrance handicap ramp at 4625 Macklin, recommends approval subject to certain conditions. And Faux Pas Partners LLC, for public improvement of an earth retention system at 3700 Forest Park, recommends approval subject to certain conditions. Recommendation that permit for Sterling Company to release of an easement across vacated right-of-ways within City Blocks 714, 720, 723, 274, 735, 738, and 6501 be filed by reason of the fact that once the right-of-way is vacated, it becomes private property. The property owner must contact utilities directly for the easement to be released per vacation ordinance. From the President and Director of Streets, joint recommendation that permit for Gateway City Development LLC to encroach with handicap ramp at 5836 through 50 Macklin be approved subject to certain conditions. Recommendation that permit for West End Clinic to encroach with ADA ramp and steps at 5736 through 38 West Florissant be filed by reason of the fact that the request was previously referred under document 294526, application number 126016. From the Director of Public Utilities, recommendation that the board declares as an emergency the following: to regulated hazardous waste removal of Chain of Rocks water treatment plant and replacement of bus bar system for chlorine building crane at Howard Bend water treatment plant. From the Director of Public Utilities and Streets, joint recommendation that the following permits be approved subject to certain conditions for AT&T, subject to certain conditions as follows. From manhole near 6050 Goodfellow or 155 feet before continuing into easement. New handhole and fiber box will be placed in the easement at 6050 Goodfellow. From easement at 6050 Goodfellow, bore 210 feet to new PED term at 1851 Schweitzer, etc. Start from an existing AT&T manhole located on South Broadway in Marion, front 1534 South Broadway. From this manhole, bore 10 feet north to 1 feet from the curb in the street. Turn and bore east down Marion for 405 feet, staying 1 feet off of the curb line. Turn and bore 10 feet south to the private property at 1544 South 3rd, where AT&T will meet up with the customer-provided conduit. Place 880 feet of buried fiber optic cable from handhole 1066D on the side of 1519 Tower Grove across Tower Grove, then north on Tower Grove to Vista. From east on Vista to the front of 4243 Vista, then to the customer address of 4240 Vista. AT&T to place a total of 3 new handholds along this route within the right-of-way. For manhole at 8734 Goodfellow, bore 220 feet into easement at 8735 Goodfellow. New handhole and fiber box will be placed in easement. From handhole in easement at 5735 Goodfellow, bore 149 feet to a new 17 by 30 by 36 inch handhole at 8735 Goodfellow. From handhole at 8735 Goodfellow, bore 1,002 feet to rise pole at 8621 Goodfellow, where it will continue into SLT, St. Louis County, etc. From manhole near 4179 Cleveland, bore 835 feet to new 2 by 3 feet handhole at 4121 Flagg. From handhole at 4121 Flagg, bore 358 feet to a new 3 by 5 by 3 feet handhole at 4069 Flagg. From handhole at 4069 Flagg, dig 6 feet to a new 3 by 4 pad with fiber box, etc. From manhole near 2109 South Spring, bore 488 feet to a new 2 by 3 by 2 feet handhole near 3826 Russell. From handhole at 3826 Russell, bore 599 feet to a new 3 by 5 by 3 feet handhole at 3901 Russell. From handhole at 3901 Russell, dig 6 feet to new 4 by 4 pad with fiber box, etc. AT&T to access manhole for splicing work only. No placement on this permit. From existing handhole at 5100 Columbia, remove and replace 1 slab of sidewalk and dig 3 feet to new 4 by 4 pad with fiber box, etc. Place 1,150 feet of buried fiber cable from handhole 1066A on the side of 4401 Norfolk, then south on Newstead to the alley south of Hunt Avenue to the side of 4410 Hunts, then across South Newstead to the rear of 4370 Hunt and to the rear of 4366 Hunt. AT&T to place a total of 3 new handholds along this route with right-of-way. Bore a new fiber cable from an existing handhold at the side of 3500 Shenandoah. Bore north across Shenandoah, then turn west for 352 feet, then turn north along west side of Vanderburg Avenue for 233 feet. Place a handhold over existing SOC pipe provided by builder. AT&T manhole near F6653 Idaho, bore 70 feet to a new 3 by 5 feet handhold across street from 6653 Idaho. From handhold, dig 6 feet to a new 4 by 4 pad with fiber box, etc. AT&T splicers to gain access to manhole at Shenandoah and 11th for splicing work only. Contractor to place 317 feet of new fiber between 2 AT&T manholes and existing duct along Shenandoah in fenced area of Potomac Square Park, 901 Shenandoah, with other existing AT&T equipment. Place a new custom pour pad and fiber box, etc. from manhole near 7,000 Chippewa, bore approximately 6 feet before continuing into easement at same address. New handhold and fiber box will be placed in the easement. From easement at 5818 Kingwood, bore approximately 50 feet and back into easement at 5823 Kingwood. Started at AT&T manhole located on Leffingwell Well at the alley north of Washington, rear of 2747 Washington. From this manhole, bore east down the alley, staying 2 feet in front of the pole lead for 256 feet at the rear of 2727 Washington. Rise up the pole and following the existing aerial copper cable into the building at 2727 Washington. Recommendation that the following MCI Metro permits be approved subject to certain conditions. 2 HDPE pipes to be placed for fiber cable starting at 1401 McCausland, placed east along Dale for 1,400 feet. At this point, place a new handhold at 6746 Dale and continue east to Craft. At this point, turn north and continue along Craft for 8,635 feet. At this point, place a new handhold at 1226 Craft and continue north for 720 feet to the intersection of Clayton and continue west 357 feet. At this point, enter existing handhold at 1038 Grandview Place. ODN 2-inch HDPE pipe to be placed for fiber cable starting near 400 Barton Street. Place new handhold and conduit 3 directions, one south along South 7 for 240 feet. At this point, enter existing handhold. 2 another leg west to 2357 7th Boulevard. At this location, place new handhold. The third will continue north along 7th to the intersection of Barton. At this location, place east to exiting handhold at South 3rd Street. From this existing handhold, place north along South 3rd Street, coming in and out of existing handhold for 5,800 feet, and place new handhold at 1250 South 3rd Street. Bore and place 1 2-inch conduit and handholds for new fiber starting at existing manhole 0047, located at 501 North Spring. Bore and place conduit for new fiber 20 feet to south side of Olive to another existing XO Communications manhole 2026. Bore and place 1 2-inch conduit and handholds for new fiber starting at existing handhold located 3933 McPherson. Bore and place conduit for new fiber 7,577 feet west along the north side of McPherson at 500 North Kings Highway. Turn north and bore 703 feet north along the east side of North Kings Highway, ending at existing handhold located at 716 North Kings Highway. Bore and place 1 2-inch conduit and handholds for new fiber starting at existing handhold located at 35 South Grand. Bore and place conduit for new fiber 976 feet north along Grand and place new handhold at 221 North Grand. Continue north for 2,638 feet to Bill. Turn west at 920 North Grand and bore 335 feet across Grand and onto Bill, ending on the side of 915 North Bill. John Cochran, VA, St. Louis Healthcare System. Recommendation that the following permits for charter be approved subject to certain conditions, starting at existing charter telephone pole at 1711 Hereford and the alleyway. Charter would like to bore 153 feet north toward Northrop and place a vault in the sidewalk from Charter, bore west 448 feet, adding a vault in the sidewalk. From there, bore north 55 feet under the street to the private property of 5151 Northrop. And starting at existing Charter telephone pole in the alleyway, pole line of 2710 Locust. Charter would like to bore east 88 feet and place a vault. From there, bore north on North Beaumont 190 feet, placing a vault at Locust and North Beaumont. From there, Charter would like to bore 163 feet north to North Beaumont and alleyway, placing another vault. Charter would like to bore 181 feet east into alleyway with pole line. Charter will place a vault, and finally bore south 44 feet, finishing at 2653 Locust. Recommendation that the following permits be approved subject to certain conditions as follows. Level 3 communications will provide fiber optic connectivity and existing Level 3 facilities to additional existing Level 3 facilities, beginning at an existing Level 3 manhole located on the east side of Arsenal Street at South 2nd Street. 3 proposed 1.5-inch HDPE conduit will be bored in west along the west side of South 2nd Street, 606 feet to existing Level 3 manhole located in the north curb line of South 2nd Street, etc. And Bluebird Network to bore and place one 1.25-inch conduit and handhole for new fiber starting at 7750 Clayton. Place south along Craft for 900 feet. At this point, place a new handhole at 6686 Park Avenue and continue south for 650 feet. At this location, place a new handhole at 1364 Craft Street and continue west for 980 feet, etc. From the Director of Streets. East Loop CID to encroach with Christmas decorations along the 5800 and 5900 blocks of Delmar recommends approval subject to certain conditions. And Dental Health Theater, Inc., doing business as HealthWorks Kids Museum, St. Louis, to encroach with banners on one light pole on Macklin at Berthold and 3 poles east of Macklin on Berthold in front of 5200 Berthold, be approved subject to certain conditions. From the Director of Public Safety. Recommendation that the following festival zones be approved subject to certain conditions as follows. Trunk or Treat at PL Scott between Labadie and St. Louis Avenue, November 4, 2018, and Sarah Street Fall Festival on North Sarah between Laclede and Alley, November 10, 2018. Now we have the conditional uses.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the board. I'm Bob Gordy, and I'll be representing this building commissioner at today's meeting. Per board order number 766, transmitted herewith are recommendations for the following conditional use agenda applications. Approval with conditions is recommended for 6 applications. 4157 Enright Avenue, 4320 Dr. Martin Luther King, 4725 Goodfellow, 5331 St. Louis Avenue, 3801 Wyoming Street, and 2800 North Sarah Street. I request these recommendations be approved as submitted.
Are there any questions on the conditional uses from the board?
Motion to approve the uses.
Second.
Moved in second for approval of conditional uses. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie.
Aye.
Director Wilson.
Aye.
Director Hayes.
Aye.
Director Augustin.
Aye.
Director Ergy.
Aye.
Director Edwards.
Aye.
And President Bradley.
Aye. Conditional uses are approved. Hearing number 82222 for 4658 Grabway. We heard from the zoning inspector that the 2 conditions that were in question have been brought into compliance. We also heard a report from the health inspector that there were a series of issues that were out there from a previous inspection, and we spoke to the conditional use permit holder who was aware of these. Some of these have been corrected or are in the process of being corrected, and that individual and his representative assured the board that they would resolve all of these issues by working with the health inspector. So with that, I'll open the floor up for any discussion.
Perhaps a question I should have asked the two individuals from Health. I did ask the first representative from Health. Do we recall, I don't, what the date of her inspection was? I know the gentleman's was in late September. Does anybody remember when her inspection was?
Are you looking for the date of the original health inspection?
Well, I know he testified that his was in late September. Are we talking the same date that she spoke of, or a different date? Because she was there too herself, wasn't she?
I thought she said she went yesterday.
It was yesterday. It was another member of the staff that went yesterday.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further questions from the board or commentary?
I guess I'm wondering, we had the conditions of violations up here. These health issues aren't listed on, were they? So
No.
Is that a consideration on the item that we're voting on in the hearing? Or and then they would be addressed through a separate mechanism, the conditional use permit? Is this separate issues that should be kept separate, or because there's outstanding health issues, we can't approve the conditional use?
So my understanding is that any of those issues would affect the outcome of us voting on a conditional use, and that's why we have asked the Department of Health to come in and give us an inspection so that we're aware of what those issues are. I think, what we're talking about here is a few items which were a toilet that was inoperable, and the gentleman talked about that one, how they're in the process of getting that fixed. A vat sink that was leaking, had low water pressure. He also talked about that one. And then they talked about the water and the food under the refrigerator. So, I would assume what we would do at this point is unless we wanted to hold this again for a further health inspection, we would probably allow this to not be revoked under the understanding that they're going to solve the problems until such a time when, the next health inspection comes up, which, Janine, how often is that?
So with the 3 critical violations that were found yesterday, they will be back within 48 hours to follow up on those.
So, theoretically, they could come back to us and we could go through the whole revocation process again, or, again, we could table it until the Department of Health comes back and tells us that everything's been resolved. It really is up to what the board's purview is.
I think those are all great points. I feel comfortable. I was uncomfortable when she expanded and explained the violations. I'd be comfortable if that's Director of Health, if that's correct, within 48 hours. I'd be most comfortable with tabling this matter till a week from today to make sure they've rectified what were declared as 3 critical violations interior-wise. I'm happy they abated, so to speak, or handled their exterior violations, but that would be my motion, to table it for 1 week.
I would second.
Motion on the table for 1 week and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie.
Aye.
Director Wilson.
Aye.
Director Hayes.
Aye.
Director Augustin.
Aye.
Director Argy.
Aye.
Director Edwards.
Aye.
And President Bradley.
Table. I'd like to turn your attention to our meeting minutes from last Tuesday, October 23rd, 2018. Are there any questions or comments on the minutes as presented?
Motion to approve the minutes. If no questions, sorry, jumped the gun there quickly.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moving second for approval of minutes. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie.
Abstain?
Director Wilson.
Aye.
Director Hayes.
Aye.
Director Augustin.
Abstain.
Director Argy.
Aye.
Director Edwards.
Aye.
And President Bradley.
Aye, the minutes are approved. Today's agenda, questions or comments on the agenda? Seeing none, take a motion, please.
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Moving second for approval of today's agenda. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie.
Aye.
Director Wilson.
Aye.
Director Hayes.
Aye.
Director Augustin.
Aye.
Director Argy.
Aye.
Director Edwards.
Aye.
And President Bradley.
Aye, today's agenda is approved. Motion for adjournment, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.